Well, hello YouTube. Here we are with a little bit of a video. Well, it's not very often you see both trucks parked in the backyard, as well as it's not very often that, well, the old Silverado gets driven anymore nowadays. Well, of course, the other day I was pretty much admiring my yard and admiring my collection of new growth. Mainly all these wonderful weeds that pretty much are unwanted, right? So of course I went down, scored me some weed killer, and I sprayed the whole front driveway, front yard, all that good stuff. Moved the vehicle and the trailer from the front driveway, and that's pretty much why they're both sitting back here. Now, of course, it's time to do the back driveway. However, instead of just doing a half a job, like most years I've done, I'm gonna kick it up a notch this year and move the old beachcomber trailer. As you see in this corner, it's getting rather overgrown with all sorts of trees and weeds and shrubs and stuff like that. Back in there, around the back side of the trailer, there should be a couple of lawnmowers and a few various other things. The other way there is scrap metal corner. I've got some garbage here that I'm going to probably throw on the trailer. Then of course we're going to have to move the beachcomber over so it's at a bit of an angle, so we can back the Silverado in to hook her on up, and then away she goes. I'm not 100% sure exactly when the last time this corner was done, but I know the trailer itself hadn't really moved for probably 2 or 3 years. And I used to, when I pulled it out to get it ready for camping, I used to clean up this corner. So I'm pretty sure it's been a few seasons since the weeds and that were killed in this corner, because that's the last time this trailer was out of there. Of course, there's some various other goodies in there. Some of them I even forget what they are now, but I'm sure I'm about to find out what they are. So pretty much, guys, we're gonna have to spin the old Silverado around, clear some of this garbage that'll be in the way, out of the way. I got a plastic shelf here. It was a free find from yard sailing. I'll probably spin those screws out of there and detach the black from the gray, and then the rest will be scrap. I got a roll of plastic there that I'm not sure where it came from, but I think I've had her for years, and I put it out here because I had no space for it, and I'll probably throw it on the trailer this time around, and pretty much we'll get things situated, and then, away we go. Well, guys, there we go. Pretty much all loaded up. I guess I should say hitched on to the old truck here. Of course, it wasn't that hard to pull her out. It had settled a little bit, so the wheels didn't want to move out of their holes, but I guess that's expected after 3 years or so. Of course, one thing I do notice is the back window here, pretty much right there, is starting to pop out of its hole. Again, that's to be expected because, there's nothing really holding it in there except the sealant that was around the window that actually failed to begin with to cause the issue. Of course, when you look at the corner here, you can tell it does need a bit of work. I got the I guess you could say the new Cub Cadet, but it's no go now. And the wore out old John Deere mower and the Homelight leaf blower back here that I can remember anyway. I think there might be a piece of steel laying in these weeds, and probably a couple other surprises as well. So of course, once we get this all emptied out, then we could start remedying the problem. But first of all, I gotta throw me a strap on that window so I can pull this here trailer without having that window pop out. I know it's not gonna really do much in terms of keeping out the rain, but I can't afford to lose the window because, well, I still might end up putting it back in. Well guys, there we are. As you've seen, the trailer's in the front yard, or I guess I should say the front driveway. Well, of course, hopefully that shot turned out. I think there's actually something wrong with my Panasonic finally. As you see there, I am shooting with the Panasonic HTC-TM60. I've had this camera since almost the beginning of my YouTube days. And of course, I go to fire her up today, and well, this is what it does. Pretty much as you see there, the lens cover is open, it's not closed, and it's almost like it's letting way too much light in. It's oversaturated with brightness, so I have no idea if that shot worked out or if I lost the footage, but I guess if it worked, then you'll see it. If it didn't, then pretty much we'll cut right to this. Well, of course, moved the canyon to the back driveway, for now anyway. Of course, this is the corner we got to deal with. As you see, there's a lot of new growth from, well, trees and such. If I were to leave it this season, by the time I got back to it next season, this whole corner would probably be about that tall, and so on and so forth, right? So of course now comes the monumental task of cutting these all down, or pulling all these out, getting this corner all cleaned back up, and then deciding, you know, if I'm going to treat the ground. You know, I got some debris here I probably should pick up, because this is what is holding the moisture in to the rock, as well as, you know, kind of see what there is in this corner I can do without. You know, maybe I'll get into scrap metal corner there and treat all that as well. And, you know, there's various other trees and shrubs that have grown up in this corner in the last few years that need to be dealt with. So pretty much, guys, let's get set up for that, and then away we go. Okay guys, so here we go. Pretty much got the wonderful home light trimmer all fired up. She's warming up. The little choke switch there is now broke, so hey, I guess that starts to signal the end of her. Of course, I got some wonderful weeds now growing here, as well as the corner over there I'm going to deal with. So pretty much, guys, to save wrecking another camera, I'm pretty much just going to do her and then cut back when she's all short. Well guys, pretty much got all the trimming done. The trimmer didn't seize up this time, so I guess we can call that a bonus. I got to take a rake and go over all this and pick up the long stuff that I cut, because there's no use in roundupping something and using more roundup than you need. Pretty much, you know, I did a couple in here. I have to take the shears in there to cut the trees. Of course, I did the long, you know, 4-foot stuff along here. I'll take the shears in there and again trim the trees. As well as over here in this corner, I trimmed the long stuff out of there. And I'll have to take the shears in this corner here to trim our neighbor's wonderful tree that creeps over on my side of the lot. And of course, I got in the corner here where the beachcomber sat for a few years without moving. And of course, I trimmed everything here that was tall. And again, I'll have to come in here and trim, you know, those trees there with the clippers. And of course, these trees here with the clippers. I'm going to try to get behind the shed here, trim all that. And of course, my wood hoard corner, you know, keeping parts for the fence, of course, has allowed trees to grow up too, so I got to trim those as well. I might get ambitious on this load here and get in that corner there and trim the rest of those trees down, and maybe even tackle the big guy there, because, well, the leaves are already wilting, and well, it's only been a couple months into summer, so I think that tree is starting to hurt a little bit, and well, the next step is it to fall over, right? Of course, they mowed the backyard here, got it half looking good. Of course, I'm going to spray weed killer along the edge of the deck, and of course around the edge of the stairs, you know, just to keep less trimming and you know, stuff like that, right? So of course the old Craftsman with a Honda engine is well, doing fairly well. I love how it's quiet, so it doesn't like, rattle like the old Briggs used to. So pretty much, guys, I'm gonna empty the bag, run the front yard over, and then pretty much we'll do shuffle around to the trailers and well, start picking up the good stuff. Here we go, little bit of a follow-up a few days later on the weeds. As you see there, they shriveled up very, very nicely. I do still see some green, so I'll probably hit her one more time just to make sure, it's all dead. Right there is, of course, that wonderful tree trying to make a return, so I'm probably going to have to get the shovel and give her a good old digging up there just to make sure. And of course, where I sprayed around the wood box is, dying nicely. Of course, that wood box is not a permanent fixture, so it will be moved, so I will have a dead spot there, and I will have a dead spot under the wood box to deal with. But if my plans come about the way I want them to, this whole area will be covered anyway. And where I sprayed here in the where all the planters and stuff like that sat, it's yellowing up nicely. Again, I may have to hit her a second time and it would kill it good. And I do have plans, of course, again for like a L-shaped planter to go to at least there. And if I get delusions of grandeur, I want to make it larger, I can make her another 6 feet larger to probably somewhere in here, and then there'll be a gate here. Of course, that's the plans, of course, for the future. Of course, over here in this corner where the beachcomber sat, I sprayed pretty good in here and it's shriveling up. I could probably back the beachcomber in here and then maybe touch up around it. Of course, I'm preparing to do the back driveway here. Again, the opportunities come up to get her done, so I'll probably switch around these vehicles and then, start spraying. So let's get at it. Well, guys, there we go. Of course, got the whole yard now sprayed with weed killer. It's been quite a few weeks now since the end. You noticed all the effects, everything shriveled up and died. There are a few areas that, you could respray if you want to, and things like that. Of course, these trees and shrubby things, there's really no way to get around them because, well, it's the neighbor's trees that are basically growing through my side of, the fence. Back here in the back driveway, of course, all the weeds that were growing tall have been took care of. Every year I'm still going to have a trouble with weeds growing up, along here, just because there's organic matter buildup, of course, in the rocks, and I'm not 100% sure how to get rid of that, besides digging up the rocks and putting new rock in there. Same with back here, there's organic buildup, which of course, how that goes. It holds moisture, dirt gets in there, it decomposes down, and away you go. And basically, same over here where the big tree came out of. There's, build up back there, which is always going to grow something. I might give this section another round just to make sure she's good and dead. However, we are coming to the end of our weed growing season, so really, soon there'll be snow on the ground, and, the weeds will be the last thing on our mind. But pretty much, guys, of course, that concludes our big weed killing session of 2015. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.